In this video, we're gonna make some tech house like Matroda, like this. Alright, so this is one of the latest tracks that Matroda released. It's a collab with some other guy. And as always, let's start with the kick and the bass, my favorite part of the track. Okay, so I'm going to solo the kick and the bass, and we are going to break down everything. Okay, so that's the kick and the bass. And first, let's take a look at the notes. So those notes here, these are the notes that create that nice groove. Listen to this carefully. Okay, now I've got the kick, which sounds like this. And it's really important to select the right kick, because with the wrong kick, the track is just not going to vibe the right way. Okay, and now let's take a look at the bass sound design. So it's really simple. I don't have any processing on the channel, so let's bypass all of the effects here. Let's start with the oscillator number 1. So it's a basic sine wave. And the envelope looks like this. It's really short. It has a bit of a tag here to create the sort of a little bit of like fade in. So you almost can't hear the sub, like the sine here. The second oscillator is basically also sine wave, but I decided to pick this waveform. It's like a little bit different, and it has a bit of unison here, which creates that wide feeling. And it sounds like this. Bit louder. This is how it sounds. I do have a bit of processing on the group here, but it doesn't change that much. Now the next thing is going to be the filter, and with the filter we're using MDLO 18, 400 Hertz. Bit of drive and fat here to make it sound like fat and powerful. And don't forget about the mono, and set the random to 0 because we want the bass to start from same phase. And now let's take a look at the effects. So with the effects, I have a lot of distortion here, and the envelope 1 is controlling the drive and the mix to give it a bit more dynamics and movement, like this. The next thing is going to be the EQ. There's a bit of boost here at 150, just a little bit. One more filter with a lot of resonance to create that feeling, to make it like deep, because we have too much like high frequencies because of the distortion. And the final thing, I think, yeah, a compressor, which you can use it if you want. You can use an external one, but that's pretty much the bass. So as you can see, like really simple. It's really simple. We can close the filter here a bit if you want to have like deeper feeling. So that's it for the bass, really simple. And then as usual, as you've seen in my videos, I'm putting saturation to glue the sounds together on the kick and the bass group. So that's really nice. And now let's talk about the lead sound, which is really interesting. So if you listen to it, so let's break it down. And this lead sound, it's close to the original one. Like, here's the thing. When I'm remaking the sounds, I know how the sound was made, like the envelope, the effects, but sometimes I just can't find the same waveform. But then again, like, it's not the question of copying the sound, because it doesn't make any sense. I'm just trying to show you the principle, the technique, so you can then make the sounds for your own tracks. That's, I think, way more important than just like copying the sound. So let's take a look at everything here. And this is how the lead sound looks like. Okay, so let's start with the oscillator A. And this one is digital FF, whatever this name is. And this is how it sounds. So again, really short decay and release time. the wavetable position is about 36. It's mono. Then the second oscillator is BS2 subisor in analog here. Sounds like this. So they create this sort of like plucky feeling. And then a bit of filtering here, just a little bit to create movement. And LFO 1 is also controlling the fine tuning, so just like drag and drop like this. And then set to off here, and no BPM just like this. So it's restarting and triggering. Just wanted to create a bit of that detuned feeling. It's pretty nice. Yeah, then here a bit of that and drive. So that's it for the oscillator section. Now let's talk about the effects. So distortion, hard clip distortion, because that's what they had in the original track. Then the delay, and the delay is what creates that nice psychoacoustic effect. So set it to 130 seconds, because we want to have that something like this. Then the reverb. The reverb is really short, like the decay time is 0.8, set to minimum, but it creates that room reverb. Then the EQ. There's a bit of like boost here, like this, at 425. And then a filter. And with the filter, I'm just rolling off the low frequencies. And this is what we got so far. So pretty nice and pretty interesting sound. And there's one more thing that is happening to this sound. It is the pitch bend. So I've set it to like 7 and -7. So it means that it can go up to like 7 and -7 semitones. And then I'm just automating the pitch bend and the delay feedback. And the reverb on the return channel. Like this. Right, and then we just go here again. So this is it for the lead sound, really simple. And then we have a couple of more sounds. So one more sound is going to be the stab sound. Sounds like this. And then if you look at the I need to check. I think it was somewhere here. Yeah, so it's similar to the sound that I made. The only difference is then again like the waveform. But I'm gonna show you the logic, like how you can make this sound basically in Serum, because again, like I understand what kind of effects he used. I just didn't get like the same waveform. But then again, it's really close to the original one. So so this is the sound. Let's turn off all of the effects here and take a look at the processing. Okay, so MB saw unison 16, so detune and blend like this. The envelope 1 is really interesting. So I increased the attack at like 95 to create like a little bit of that fade in, make it sound soft like this. And then LFO 1 is controlling the fine tune. So as you can hear, like it's slightly detuned, creates that nice movement, which is pretty cool. And then envelope 2 looks like this. After that, I am using the gritty from digital gritty waveform, which sounds like this. So just a bit without and with. Just creates a bit more texture here. The next step is going to be filter MGLO 24 A and B. And then we're using envelope 2 to create that sort of like plucky sound. Okay, that's it. Now the distortion is a really important part of this sound, because in the original track, it's squashed with distortion. It's really like flat. Okay, yeah, as you can see here, but this is what we need. The EQ could be a bit too loud here, but you can see I'm boosting here 2,300 like this, and we could do like. Now the next thing is going to be the reverb, something like this, and then one more filter to roll off the high frequencies, and then a compressor to smooth the dynamics. Did I use? I think. No, I didn't use hyper dimension, but then again, you can play with the spatial effects. But that's pretty much it, like, for the sound. Then the only question is to find the waveforms that sound good in your track. But for the sound itself, as you can see, pretty simple. So again, like, that's the envelope 1, envelope 2, and yeah, sound is pretty simple, but then again, pretty nice. In tech house, it's used quite a lot. So that's it for the main sounds. As you can hear, the drop is really simple, and as I said in a couple of last videos, those tech house tracks that you hear, they work so well because they have good vocals. So once again, if you check this one with the vocals, sounds full, and then you just don't need a lot. Just like one lead sound, like one stab. That's pretty much it. And there's one more transition in this track, in the original one. So listen to this one. Okay, so this sound is really simple. This is just a basic saw waveform, unison to 7, filter, MG low 12, maybe even 18, like this. Envelope 2 looks like this, and then I'm just assigning it to the modulation of the filter. And then if you look at the chords, basically it just repeats the melody. So we go from F minor to C sharp minor to C minor, which is really interesting chord progression. Creates that sort of like dark, deep house vibe, which I like a lot. And then if you look at the notes, let's take a look at the full thing, right? So we go from F4 to F3, and then, yeah, those are the notes that we have in the chords, so C sharp and C. And because all of the chords are minor, as I said, it creates pretty, like, nice progression, like dark, but not too dark, just nice. Really cool. Okay. And then there was one more thing that they used in the break before the drop. There was a Reese bass that plays together with the chords. Listen all together. And with the kick and the bass. There's a filter on the kick and the bass. Okay, and here we are basically repeating the same notes from the lead melody. And in terms of the sound design, this one is not really interesting. It's just like a basic Reese bass. And I think it's just like a lead sound that I pitched down to make like a Reese bass. But anyway, it's not really interesting. I'm gonna give you the preset so you can download it. What else? I think, yeah, that's pretty much it for the project. Again, as I said, like it's pretty simple. So everything is looking like this. The original track again is also pretty simple. Yeah, and altogether, just once again. Oh, there was actually one more thing that I wanted to show you real quick. The drums. The drums are really important. So on their own, the drums sounded like this, like too thin and sort of like too dry, too boring. Those are the original drums. So here I just laid like 3 hats. This is 1, 2, and 3. And there's one more layer just to make it more interesting, add a bit of texture like this. For the claps, same thing. I layered 3 claps. First one, second one is like a snare, and the third one. So sounding good, right? Now, what I did to the drums is pretty interesting, something that you can use. So parallel processing, a lot of compression, big ratio, 10:1. Right, so it's squashing the drums. The next thing is Isotope Trash 2. It's a really interesting like saturation sort of plugin. And it adds that nice texture. So you can play with filters, saturation algorithms, dynamics, and like all of that. sounds like this. And I've set it to about, yeah, like here, 75% mix. And it's already making the drums much fatter. And then since we squashed the drums, I want to work with the dynamics here. So I used a transient shaper to reduce the sustain. So about like 85% is nice. That's without. Too much sustain. I don't like that. Okay. And then one more thing that I did is the this is the NSSL sort of EQ. So I boosted 120 at like 10 dB, which is a lot. I boosted 300 at like 4 dB. I boosted, no, here I didn't boost. I boosted 1.5K. I'm sounding pretty nice. Just got to compensate for the so much fatter, especially like in the mix. If you listen with and without, like let's say here, this is like too thin, right? And with this one, and then the last thing, as always, the side chain. Just find the right attack and release, like this. Yeah, and you've got great drums. So this is the technique that you can use in terms of the processing. Really cool, really simple, and then again, you can make your drums way more interesting. Yeah, I think those were all of the sounds. So we went through kick, bass, drums, leads, stabs, pads, and Reese bass. You'll get all of the presets with this project. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm liking the results, how the project turned out. And as always, thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in coaching, all links are down below, and I see you in the next video.